Today is a sad day. Just after 7 PM last night, it was announced that I was going to say the world of heavy metal, but the world of music has lost a great man. In fact, more than that, I don't use this word lightly. The world of music has lost a legend. At 76 years old, John Michael Osborne, better known by his stage name Ozzy Osbourne, has passed away. Ozzy had an incredibly distinctive and powerful voice, and even in his later years, when being interviewed, he'd mumble away and we, the audience, would try and piece together a sentence. Give the guy a microphone and he was on the money every fucking time. He rose to fame as the frontman of Black Sabbath, and Black Sabbath weren't just a heavy metal band, they were the heavy metal band. They invented the genre. And Sabbath were four lads from Birmingham. Birmingham! If you're from outside the UK, how can I describe Birmingham? Let's put it this way, you're never going to get a Brummy Bond villain. No, Mr. Bond, I expect you to die. And for anyone who's played in a heavy metal band, I used to, I'm hoping to again in the near future, every heavy metal band, even mad shit like System of a Down, when you break it down, every heavy metal band on the face of the earth is just copying something that Black Sabbath did 55 years ago. If I had to list my top 10 albums of all time, not just metal albums, I mean music in general, the 1970 album Paranoid by Black Sabbath would be on that list. Although I'd also say if I had to list the top 10 worst album covers of all time, it would also be on that list, because if you're unfamiliar with it, here it is. A man running through the woods at night with a sword and shield, wearing a motorcycle crash helmet and shorts. That isn't paranoid, that's clinically insane. In 1979, Ozzy was sacked from Black Sabbath because of his drug use. Now, let's put that into context. A member of a British rock or metal band in the late 1970s being sacked for drug use. What was the man on? Although it transpired, again later in life, he had his DNA tested, and it transpires he had a genetic abnormality, meaning he could do amounts of booze and drugs that would kill the average human. So after his first stint with Black Sabbath, because he rejoined later, he went off and had a successful solo career. And when it comes to Ozzy Osbourne, it isn't a case of, can you tell me a bad album? It's, can you try and tell me a bad song? And then he went on to reinvent himself on MTV's The Osbournes, one of the first ever reality TV shows, where we saw the Prince of Darkness, this incredible rock god, who was basically just a very caring father who swore a lot. If it hadn't been for the Osbournes, we wouldn't have had the Kardashians, so Ozzy, you did do a few things wrong. Sadly, I never saw Ozzy perform live. Twice the wife and I had tickets, and twice the tours were cancelled because it transpired he was suffering with Parkinson's. Then just a couple of weeks ago, Black Sabbath played their final gig, and I'll be honest, I had a look at the ticket prices and thought, no, fuck that, I'll watch it on YouTube. However, a few years ago, I went to see the Alice Cooper Band at the NEC. To be blunt, I spent most of that show staring at Nita Strauss, but the rest of the band were there. Anyway, when the first support band finished, their singer, I don't recall the name of the band, they were American, he came out and said, coming up later, it's the Prince of Darkness himself, Alice Cooper. The reaction wasn't good. The Prince of Darkness was and always will be Ozzy Osbourne. That man made that mistake in fucking Birmingham. And I think I'm talking on behalf of pretty much every metalhead who's ever lived. Ozzy Osbourne, you mad bastard, thank you for the good times, and rest in peace.